Show. I invite you to join me every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. We will discuss life, business, leadership, family, and fun, and what happens when your view of the world expands. A wide variety of guests will provide insight on how they do business, family, and leadership in their lives. So now, here's today's show. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Faith Washington Show. I'm Faith Washington. I'm actually a doctor of pharmacy and a biochemist and many other things, a coach for life and business. And I regularly interview very cool entrepreneurs, and we talk about their business, the challenges that occur, and the things that they do to make their lives rock. We are live on Facebook tonight. We are also live on 95.3 FM, which is WNN, and 1470 AM. I have an amazing guest tonight. Her name is Lauren A. Cohen. She is an attorney and specializes in EB5, which she'll explain that to you. And welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Faith. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you joined me tonight. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure,
Other than the fact that you're an
absolutely.
attorney and a woman who wears many hats, you're an entrepreneur.
I do wear many hats. Sometimes I'm not sure which hat I'm wearing at which given time, as you can relate to all too well.
I can.
So I've known Faith for about six, actually more like 7 or 8 years. We know each other from the gym. Actually, my project manager, who's been working with me for over 5.5 years, I met her at the same gym.
That's very
She's been working
cool.
with me for that long. So the gym is a great place to meet people. I guess that's the moral of that story. So as Faith said, my name is Lauren Cohen. I am an immigration attorney by profession, and I run a company that helps foreign investors seeking access to the U.S. market to gain that access painlessly and as cohesively as possible, with as few pitfalls in the process as possible. And I work with I work with U.S. businesses that are seeking alternative capital to fund their U.S. business to grow and expand and build their business. And an alternative source for that capital is through this program called EB5, which is where they access foreign investor capital, and the foreign investors in turn obtain green cards as a result of their investment and job creation.
So let me ask you something.
Yes.
How does this, when you create opportunities for foreigners to immigrate to the U.S., how does that affect their life?
Well,
Here, I'm going to have you put your mic a little closer to you.
sure, absolutely. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Usually
No,
I'm pretty
no,
loud.
No,
So,
you're okay.
so, I mean, it really depends on which country they're coming from.
Okay.
Because people have many different
Examples.
reasons.
Give us some examples of those
So
countries.
let's talk about, for example, my home country, which is Canada. So people are coming from Canada not to escape political persecution or get away from violence, because if they're trying to get away from violence, they're coming to the wrong place, or to, leave all kinds of trauma and drama. But most people, like me, come to achieve a better life, or in my case and many others that are in South Florida in particular, to escape the cold. So
Good point.
very big deal. So that's a Canadian perspective, but that's not the average norm. That's an exception rather than the rule. From Europe, people are often escaping like anti-Semitism, all kinds of issues going on there, problems with finances, problems with some level of violence, problems with a lot of issues going on politically in other places. Then you've got South America, which of course in South Florida is where we see most of our immigrants coming from. Particularly, we'll talk about Brazil and Venezuela, both of which are very violence-torn countries that have very severe financial restrictions
It's
on
the economy.
the
And
economy.
those two countries specifically,
Yes.
I'm not sure that our audience is aware of that, but those countries are really torn.
It's a terrible situation.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't get away from it.
Right.
My sister-in-law is Brazilian, so I'm very familiar with that market. And here in Boca, we have tons of Brazilian
Yes, we do.
immigrants, and I work with many of them. I'm actually on the board of the Brazilian Business Group,
Oh, wow.
and I speak enough Portuguese to get in trouble. And it's kind of fun. So I love working with people, learning about different cultures, also a lot of Chinese, because of all of the issues in China. What Chinese foreign nationals tend to do is they want to get their kids out. So their kids might be here at school or in some other place, and they find a way to get their children the visa so that their children can live and work here. They may not want to come. Sometimes it's for tax reasons, because of course once you come into the U.S., you get taxed as a U.S. taxpayer, and you have to claim your worldwide income. And for a lot of these high net worth people, it's an issue. So there are other ways than investing in this EB-5 program that I also work with, any type of business immigration, but not every country qualifies for every option. So it's just a very interesting dynamic of trying to figure it all out. And I actually have a book coming out in the second quarter of this year, God willing.
Awesome.
Everything should go well.
Exactly.
And it's
What's it called?
It's called Finding the Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process.
Wow.
And it's going to be a comprehensive how-to guide to as much an extent as possible with the limited resources that we have available, because it changes every day, especially right now with all the
Yes.
changes going on in immigration,
Yes.
which is quite an interesting time for us.
And I will just guarantee that it requires so much. Just what little bit we've talked about, folks, the amount of knowledge and wisdom of not only United States law on immigration, but international law that Lauren and her team are required to know so that they are able to seamlessly bring people here and deal with the businesses and obtaining the capital. It's enormous. I simply do not know how you are able to keep all of this straight.
So
You
if
guys you must have an amazing team.
We do. We really do. I mean, I have referring attorneys that we work with in Australia, in Israel, in every country in the world, as far away as the Mariana Islands, which is a U.S.
wow.
territory. So we there's really no part of the world that we don't communicate with on some level, and those referring attorneys have the law of that particular country covered, or we have referral sources, because the American Immigration Lawyers Association is a huge mentoring, assistance-driven group of attorneys all over the world. I'm actually going to Brussels at the end of April to speak for the one of the larger chapters of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. So it's American immigration attorneys that are possibly stationed anywhere in Europe, in Israel, wherever, but they're all doing U.S. law.
Okay.
So, but they also do law of that country, or they work in a firm that does. So you've got all these bases covered. So the depth of our network, both in terms of our strategic partners that work with us on the project side, like we have economists and business plan people and market study and immigration attorneys, securities attorneys, real estate attorneys, you name it. We're like the glue that holds it all together. We're like the general contractor for the projects and for the investors.
So in other words, you bring all of the other attorneys
Yep.
and their information into the mix.
Yes.
So that the immigrants, the business owners, the capital seekers are all able to seamlessly interface. And thank God everybody knows where they're supposed to be, because that's overwhelming.
So the challenge is that a lot of them don't know exactly that. They don't know that they need this single source provider. So what happens is, and we've seen this many times, what happens is you have a project that's put together. And when I say a project, let's talk about a hotel. And a hotel is a perfect example, because lots of hotels raise money through this program. So you have a hotel that the project is put together by multiple service providers, an economist, business plan, the immigration attorney, securities attorney, all of these components. And they're all put together independent of each other. And they're all brilliant service providers, but there's no one person that's overseeing them and saying, okay, you're doing this and you're doing this and you're doing this, but are we all doing it cohesively? Are we all doing it that it ends up like being the same? Are we all doing it on target? Are we all going to achieve the same goal? And most importantly, are the documents consistent with each other? So we see lots of evidence, and it's coming up more and more recently, especially since 2017 started. I've seen a slew of clients that have started working with us because they have documents that were filed, and the documents themselves inherently have amounts. Like one says we're raising 20 million, and the other document that's been filed for the same project says we're raising 25 million. Well,
So there's a discrepancy.
yeah,
And that's a big
nobody's
difference.
catching it.
$5 million is a huge discrepancy.
So, of course, when it goes to the Immigration Service, they're going to catch it and send it back, and suddenly you have to figure out how to fix all of that. And this is a problem that I don't think that we realized it was pervasive, but I don't think that the industry realized how pervasive it was until more recently. And it's starting to come out because everybody was in a rush to get things done because there's all these deadlines. And
Right.
so it just gets done, and people aren't.
But
there's
it's
no
getting done
watchdog.
but it's
Incorrectly.
getting done incorrectly. And so this came to light with your agency,
Yes.
and you were able to kind of high scope it, assess, and bring this to light and really, really help the people who wanted to immigrate or find the capital.
That's the goal.
Yeah. That's a big deal. And it's a huge market. Enormous.
Thank you. It is. It's really
And an
it's ever
overwhelming
growing.
job.
So you know, a lot of people lately have been asking me, well, have things changed drastically because of Trump, and like, how does it affect your business? And the truth is that we, as a business entity, or because we're focused purely on business immigration, thus far have not been significantly affected by the executive orders and all the changes and what's going on with the political situation, we'll just
Right.
call it.
Right.
But certainly there's definitely some backlash, and some of our clients from some of the countries on those executive order lists are having issues, and but again, then we bring in the immigration attorney that handles it. So we're not handling those things directly. We have some programs that we do inherently internally, and some programs that we bring third parties in. So the goal is that at the end of the day, the client who's coming from this other country, or the project developer that wants to build their hotel or build their restaurant, doesn't have to worry about every little detail because they know that somebody's got their back.
Right.
And they want that.
That's the whole reason that they would hire someone
Yes.
who has that umbrella of every different type of attorney and the watchdog, so to speak, over what it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, so critically important. And I'm certain that these people are able to sleep better at night knowing that you and your team are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I mean,
It's
that's the
impressive.
plan.
I got to tell you something, folks. With what Lauren does, it's extremely impressive. And it's just a thrill to talk to you about this because there's so much meat here. I mean, things that in 30 minutes we're not able to cover all of that. But I also wanted to discuss a little bit more your book.
My book.
And one of the goals
Yes.
that Lauren has is to inspire single working moms to have faith and confidence in being able to do their own business, to work through it, she wants to give them the tools to do it and just show them that silver lining. And that's something, please tell us about that. Tell us about what you think that silver lining looks like.
The silver lining is, I mean, everybody's different, and everybody has their own struggles and their own challenges and
Yes,
their own
we do.
great things happening.
we spoke about that.
Okay, and nobody is really immune to it. But I think that what I want to do in sharing my message is to give back, to show, I was there. I was in that position of food stamps. I was in the position of desperately in need of help. And my son is almost 6.5. Oh my
And what's
God.
his name?
Zevi.
I love that name. Zevi. He's so cute. I love Zevi.
He is a cutie. He's a little bit of a handful, but he is a cutie. I adore him. He's my world in a lot of ways. And I didn't really plan on it, but I had him very late in life. It just happened that way. God intended for it too, I suppose. And so anyway, having a child later in life and having a child and building your business simultaneously, because when he was born, I had just kind of started this business. I opened it in 2008, but when he was born, I was kind of struggling to find my way through. And I had a coach at the time, not the same coach I have now. The coach I have now is probably the most amazing person I've ever known, Melissa, if she happens to hear this. But
Hi, Melissa.
I'm in an international coaching program that has basically changed my life in so many ways. Anyway, the point is that that's one of the pieces of advice that I give to everybody is have a coach. I don't care if you can afford a coach.
I agree. I'm a coach. I agree.
There you
Please
go.
call
Plug
me
for
for a free
Faith.
strategy session. 561-702-3986. Yes. Thank
She's
you, Lauren.
obviously a great coach because she just found a way to go do a plug, and we didn't even plan it. Honestly, the head coach of our program has a coach.
Yes.
There's
Always. You can't do it
There's
without.
like 4 people in your life that I think are essential, and this is part of what I'm going to be helping to teach these single working moms that you should not compromise on: a coach, an image consultant or a brand consultant, which I have, thank God, and a financial advisor to help
Agreed.
you with all of your financial plans, and it's a team, a village, a support network, and that's not a
Right.
person. But I will tell you that I have a village professionally. I could not live without them. The other day, I inadvertently did something that wasn't the most amazing thing to the wonderful person I met at the gym, and I felt so terribly about it. And I couldn't even like get through the night. And anyway, now she's going to the spa, so that'll be good. So I feel better. But you have to have a team, and you have to know that you can trust them, and you have to be able
Yes.
to delegate. The same goes for running your home, having a reliable housekeeper, having people in your home that can help you with that. And sometimes you don't have the money for those things. So you have to prioritize. And I think that if you work with a coach, there are coaches that are not that expensive, but if you work with a coach and you're an entrepreneur, this is probably mostly relevant for entrepreneurs. If you have a job, you may not need a coach as much unless you're developing
Yes,
a
you
business.
do.
Okay.
Yes,
but you
you
still
do.
do need one. So as an entrepreneur, I didn't ever really plan to be an entrepreneur. I'm a lawyer, but as an entrepreneur, you are working in a vacuum a lot of times. I work from home. I'm actually building an office in my home right now, but I work from home. I have, I have a place where I work at that's not quite an office, but it's better than an office. But I work from home, and it can be isolating. I will tell you that during the day, I'm the exception though. I'm never home. I'm out at this meeting. I'm having this lunch. I'm doing this coffee. I have this tea. We have a calendar system. We set up appointments, but it can be very isolating. And if you don't have that team in place, that mastermind that you have through your coaching program, that coach that you have to run ideas by and help you to move through things and work through things and lean on them, you're going to fall apart. You have to crack because there's only so much of you to go around. And even with a coach, there's still only so much of you to go around.
Agreed. And that's really where the coach comes in as the person who basically sets things up, and you work together. You collaborate on what your priorities are. What do you need to focus on? What does your day need to look like? Like when I
my
work with
day.
clients, we do reverse engineering of the perfect day. We start from the end of the day. What do you want it to look like with family at night? Because most people spend time with their families in the evening. What time do you want to stop working? What time do you want to, start to finish up your day? And what is your morning going to look like? What time do you need to get up in the morning? We go through all of these steps to make sure that everything's in alignment with what it is that you need to accomplish every single day to reach your goals, your mission, your vision. Without those things in place, you can't do that. And that's where the coaching comes in, and it's so valuable, and even being able to discern and hire the right people for your team makes all the difference in the world for your business,
Right.
for your ability to execute on what your mission and vision are for being an EB-5 attorney and being able to help people across the globe. And that's
Yes.
really what you're doing. That's the go-to.
Yes.
Helping people in other countries do what they would love to do. They want to experience the American dream. We are still the American dream. No
Yes.
matter what anybody says,
True.
thinks, or does, this is still the place you come to be an entrepreneur. And right now is the best time on the planet of any time that we have been alive to become an entrepreneur. And that's why I'm doing this show. That's really, thank you, Lauren, for being a part of this and for sharing who you are, what you do, your family, the challenges. All of these things are so critically important to people in our listening and viewing audience.
And just when you think you've got it, something else is going to
No,
happen.
we never have it.
You're never going to. And that's why you always need a coach.
Yes.
See, there you go.
Agreed.
I will say that having a coach with a mastermind and having a structure in your day and taking time for you, because self-care is so critical.
Agreed. And
And-
that self-care, I think many times the folks that I know,
Yes.
women are not so great about it.
No.
The guys, maybe they'll go out and play some golf or they'll do something fun
Golf.
that they
Yes.
like or watch some sports. But
Yes.
but for women, it's like go, go, go because you're a mom and you have to take care of all these other things. But you're right. Self-care is a giant portion of really being able to lead other people.
It is.
And-
And that's the word there is lead.
Lead.
So so really quick, I think that I know that people call me their boss, but I don't like to think of myself
You're
as the
not.
boss because I'm trying to lead and lead by example. And I'm trying to give tools. I mean, eCounsel is comprised of this amazing team of mostly women. Why? Well, because women work well with other women. We inspire each other, we help each other, and we can really rely on each other. And women really understand all of the demands that we have. That's why I think working with, for women, working with a female coach is critical. But for me, the silver lining in all of what I do is that I have this child that came into my life when I was told it would never happen, was told it could never happen. Actually, Faith, you probably remember that I had
I
a
do.
foster child.
I do
for a
remember.
Few months.
Yes.
And then suddenly, there I was, pregnant, and I was like, "This is
Hooray!
not even possible." But I have this child that, like, as much as right now I'm having some issues with him. You know, we all go through this,
And it's
He is-
just
he
that
is-
reflection of what you're going through, and
Yes.
he's
He is-
feeling it.
He is the best. Like he started reading about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. This child read 7 books today, and I mean they're not like little baby books. He just keeps reading. He read
Incredible.
4 books on the way home from the library, and I was worried that he wasn't going to read. Okay,
How funny is that,
I
right?
was worried.
Wait, the apple doesn't fall too far from the
there
tree.
you go.
Just remember that.
So yeah. So I guess the moral of that story is I had him in speech therapy when he was 1 because he wasn't talking. Now he doesn't shut up, as my brother told me would always happen. He said, "You're gonna hope he shuts up one day." And then the moral of the story is that your kids are gonna be okay.
Yes.
You just have to be okay.
Thank you. Agreed. We talked about that. You really have to be okay. Your child is a product of you and your spouse, and be it good or be it challenging. Challenging, it's okay. It's all right. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that everything's going to work out, you have to believe that in your heart. That's a part of being connected to God or
Absolutely.
divine source, however people like to
Right,
refer
whatever
to
it
him.
is.
And it does make all the difference in the world. You just take a breath, relax. It's a challenging day. Your child feels challenged. You felt challenged. It'll be okay.
And if in doubt, just go to Israel.
That's right. We talked
That's
about
the solution
Israel
to all
so
things-
much
all things.
before the show, folks. I got to tell you, I can't wait to go. And Lauren has been. And I have
Many times.
I have many friends that have gone,
Yeah.
and everyone just loves it. I can't wait to go. So
I can't
so
either. I
exciting.
have another 2 or 3 months before I
And
go
then you're
back.
going to go. You're going to go
Going
5
for
weeks?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow, girly. That's
I'm very excited.
very,
I'm
very
excited
nice.
to just live there instead of always touring, because we always tour. And I have some very, very dear friends that moved there last summer,
Mm-hmm.
and living there is very different. So I'm going to try to experience the living part instead of always running, because that's really what Israel is all about. So
It's exhausting to just go and run,
all
run.
the time.
When you just get to be, like we were talking about, be
Yeah.
absorbed in the culture.
Yes.
You get to eat the food,
Taste the
and
food.
you relax, and you
Yes.
just become part of the beauty of the land.
Yes.
And it's gorgeous. Every
is.
picture, every,
So
thing that you
sad that there's so
see.
much trauma and drama over
Yes.
there and
Agreed.
fighting. But within the country, it's so safe. I had an Israeli client come back last week, and he came. There's a lot of stuff going on here. He said I felt a
Yeah.
lot safer over there,
Than
and
here.
it's kind of a common thing these
Yeah.
days. So
I think there's unrest everywhere. I
Yeah.
think that it's just par for the course for where we are in
the
in
world,
our, in the
our
world.
time,
Yeah, in our
with
time.
the phones, with the
Yeah,
watch, which I'm
everyone's
wearing.
everyone's attention is
Attention
is on these little objects rather than people. And I think the most important thing, and I think as an entrepreneur, that's what you get to experience. You get to experience people. You're networking. You're on the phone. You have to build relationships. That's part of what business is. Just like with you, you hire your team, you train your team, you empower your team, and it's a big deal. It's about people. And everywhere you go, it's about people. It's about
if you
loving
think-
on people.
You can do it yourself.
Can't do it.
Think again.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're completely and totally wrong. You have to do it with a team, with a village.
Yeah.
But Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'm
Faith.
simply so grateful that you
Thank
came on
you.
tonight.
I'm
Hopefully
grateful to be
you'll
here.
come back
I'd
and
love to.
hopefully you'll go up to be on the Brooklyn Cafe up at 45th Street.
Sounds good.
I would love that too. But folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're so appreciative that you would listen in, and you're getting information here about entrepreneurship that you won't get in an MBA course or a Lean Six Sigma course. You're going to get it here on the Faith Washington Show. Thanks for joining us. We are live on Facebook and the Faith Washington Show page. We are also live on 95.3 FM and 1470 AM and the iHeartRadio app. Thanks, folks, for joining us. See you next week at Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You've been listening and watching The Faith Washington Show, where we have widened your view of the world. Our guests share their business, family, and fun life hacks to make your world better. Hope you've learned something to apply to your life and business. And join me every Wednesday night at 7 p.m.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host.